We are now going to move on to Scott McLean, and Scott is an ambassador for the Haemophilia Society, where his role is to show others what it is like to live a full life while living with haemophilia. And his story is featured on page 39 of the report. And I remember very well Scott giving evidence to our inquiry, and how some of the things he told us we were really struck by. And I think that his story highlights the importance of good patient-clinician communication and the need for personalised care and treatment for people with bleeding disorders. So over to you, Scott. We look forward to hearing from you again today.
Thank you, Diana, and hello, everyone. So just to tell you a little bit about, excuse me, my story. So I'm 28 years old, and I was diagnosed very young, at 8 months old, and was on standard factor replacement therapy for the best part of 20 years. But that was the kind of end of my treatment at that point. I was treating intravenously daily, and I'll go to my consultations every 3 months and then every 6 months as I got older. However, my consultation was more or less a quick conversation. How many bleeds have you had? Okay, we'll take some bloods and see you later. And that was essentially it. Every now and again, there would maybe be a physiotherapist that would just have a quick look and then send me on my way. And there was no kind of conversation about any kind of psychosocial care or mental health. There was no question as to how I was actually coping with haemophilia. It was, let's treat the bleeds, but not how I would deal with the actual condition itself, which for a very, very long time, that was the standard of care. I didn't know any different because I didn't know any other haemophiliacs, and I thought we were all just getting the same level of treatment. And it wasn't until I became a youth ambassador and became more informed about these other treatments that were available, and there was seeing other haemophiliacs that were doing more than I could do in terms of doing more exercise, being more active, and living a fuller life, that I started to question the treatment I was getting from my centre. Just to the point of trying to change my regime from treating daily. My veins had given up, and I wasn't getting much of a response in terms of changing it to every other day or anything that could just relieve that burden. And when I asked to start just doing some exercise like jogging or going to the gym, I was told the textbook, swimming's good for haemophiliacs because you don't get as many bleeds. But no, you're not running, you're not playing football, you can't do this, which again made things very difficult and made me feel very different from all of my peers. So as soon as I started to learn about these other treatments available and speaking to people that were having a much better standard of care, I then started to question my consultants and my centre and push for another treatment because it is a very good time to have haemophilia in the UK. There are all these novel treatments and extended treatments that do and can work better depending on your lifestyle. There is a way to find the right treatment for you to allow you to do what you want to do, much like what Clive and Paul did collaboratively together to get Clive to that point. And I still had to fight to get put onto that treatment. There was no mention of it from my consultant to myself. After a very, very long time of fighting with them, they decided to let me try the treatment. At which point I decided to go to a completely different centre altogether. At which point my last full consultation there was around 3.5 hours long, as opposed to 20 minutes in and out, let's take some bloods. Don't expect all consultations to be that long, but we had to take the time to find out what I was looking to achieve and how they could help me do it. It wasn't a case of this is a treatment you're having, to the point where They put me onto the right treatment. They email me constantly to see how I'm actually getting on with the treatment. And the physio care is there as well. I've started running more, and I'm taking other treatments to, you know, aid with my arthritis and my dodgy joints. And much like Clive said earlier, it's not fair for someone to be, you know, living down south and have an amazing treatment team, and then someone in another part of the UK to not have that kind of care, but to not even know that that kind of care could actually be available for someone with haemophilia. The way I viewed it is, on my previous treatment at my previous centre, I wasn't living with haemophilia. I was existing with haemophilia, because I couldn't do anything other than go to work or go to school or whatever I was doing at that time. Any kind of extra activity, I was told I couldn't do because my blood didn't work properly. And I was scared to do things because my treatment wasn't up to par, and it was only allowing me to do the bare minimum. And that's the real reason why, yes, we can't expect a patient to go and get told about every treatment that's available to them. It will help for patients to be somewhat self-informed, but I was only as informed as I was because of working with the society. Not everyone has that opportunity. Not everyone's going to do it. And that's why we need a better standard of care for everyone, really. I think that's pretty much my story. I think I waffled a little bit, to be honest, but the difference has been at this new centre. I am living with haemophilia, and like Clive said, when you look back at what things were before, I mean, I was fortunate enough that I've always had, you know, the standards sort of treatment within the last sort of 30 years, but I'm actually living better now than I was 5 years ago, which is ridiculous. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Scott. And that's as powerful as I remember you being when you came to talk to the inquiry panel. So thank you for telling us your story.